Ross, thanks so much for doing this. It was I was going to say a long night, early morning. I never know how you kind of square those two. The topic du jour in Toronto among baseball fans, though, Roberto Osuna, his 10th blown save last night. Look, we've talked about it. I know the fans have talked about it on social media. Ross, what are you guys seeing right now with Roberto Osuna?
Yeah, Roberto, it's such an interesting case because I think we, oftentimes as it's human nature to focus on the now, to focus on short sample sizes, and obviously Roberto's disappointed, and he hasn't been as elite as he's been over the last two plus years. So if you look at the bulk of Roberto's work, he's one of the most dominant relievers in baseball. He hasn't been that over the last month. There are aspects of his performance that are certainly elite. The strikeouts, the lack of walks, the blown saves is I don't want to chalk it up to this is just baseball. This happens, but there are a lot of his saves where if you peel back the layers a bit, there are things that certainly could have happened that he could have easily been out of those games. And he hasn't had necessarily the same dominance that he's had in the past, but at the same time, he's still an elite pitcher. And there are a lot of signs that give us confidence that he'll be back to the more dominant closer that he has been in the past.
Well, tell me, what are those signs, Ross, and what are you seeing? What's the difference between Roberto Osuna right now and Roberto Osuna at his most effective?
Yeah, I think it's fastball command initially. Roberto's an interesting pitcher because he's not he's also young, right? He's evolving, he's getting better. And, the results are changing as he's getting better and as he's evolving. And when I say getting better, it means he's adjusting to the league. So there are spans of his career where he'll pitch predominantly with his fastball. There are spans when he'll pitch predominantly with his cutter. There's spans when he'll pitch predominantly with a bigger breaking ball. There's times he's using more of a changeup. So, he has such a neat feel for all of his pitches that he's able to adjust. And I think with the evolution of any young pitcher, sometimes those adjustments are less than ideal, and sometimes they're very effective. But ultimately, if he has fastball command, he can do any and all of those things and adjust very quickly when it's not the best result in any given day. So, it's a relatively simple answer to your question. It's obviously a complex situation, or we would have already had a solution. But if I have to answer the question with something specific, I think it's always going to come back to fastball command. I think if you saw, some of the blown saves, some of them have been really, when he's had a strikeout and the guy standing on first base, or a missed opportunity to keep a runner in at one base. And, certain things happen, and that's why strikeouts are so key. If he does get strikeouts, he's taking things into his control. But when the balls are driven, they're usually fastballs over the middle of the plate, and they're not, elevated enough, and they're hittable pitches, and that's unusual for him.
When you look at Roberto and you look at where the team is now, and you've got it's September 6th, so 3 weeks left in the season. Is there anything to be said, Ross, for maybe, I'm not saying shutting the guy down, but I look at this three ways. One, you can keep running him out there and maybe he figures it out or he continues to get hit. Two, you shut him down. Three, maybe you back him off a bit and put him into a different role in the seventh or eighth inning. Are there any thought to any of those options, or is this, just basically, hey, this guy's got to figure out his fastball command and there's still 3 weeks left to do it?
Listen, the answer, the general answer to your question is no. Because of all the reasons that I've stated, the fastball velocity is there, the general aggressiveness, the mindset, his desire to be out there, our confidence that he will continue to be an elite performer, an elite closer. So the answer is no. We are not going to adjust his role. But Do you think about and talk about how we can put him in the best position? Absolutely. And will there be the potential, will we discuss the potential of him maybe not going back to back on certain situations dependent upon where we are in the season? But, really the easiest way to think about that is he's our best option to close, and we're trying to win baseball games.